Have you ever looked around at your life and quietly wondered, how did I get here? Not because something terrible happened, but because somehow the life you're living no longer feels entirely familiar. You keep doing what you're supposed to do. You go to work. You meet responsibilities. You continue moving. But internally, something feels uncertain, as if you've been walking for a long time, without being completely sure where you're going anymore. Most people experience this at some point, sometimes in their 20s, sometimes in midlife, sometimes after success, sometimes after loss. One of the hardest things about feeling lost is uncertainty. The mind prefers clarity. It likes knowing who we are, where we're going, what comes next. Uncertainty creates tension, and naturally, we want relief. So we search for answers. We ask, what should I do with my life? Am I on the right path? Why does everyone else seem so certain? Modern life quietly teaches us that we should always know our purpose, know our career, know our identity. And if we don't know, we assume something must be wrong. Yet uncertainty may be far more normal than certainty. Most of us are constantly changing. The person you were 10 years ago is not the person you are today. What we value shifts. Our understanding deepens. Maybe it would be stranger if we never felt lost, because never feeling lost might mean we've stopped growing. Many periods of feeling lost don't begin because life falls apart. They begin because life changes. The career that once felt meaningful no longer does. The goals that once motivated us lose their energy. The identity we've carried for years begins to feel too small. Carl Jung wrote, "That much of adulthood involves becoming who we truly are, not who we were expected to be." Feeling lost is sometimes the space between identities. The old self no longer fits. The new self hasn't fully emerged. So we stand somewhere in between, uncertain, uncomfortable, and often alone. Not every meaningful period feels meaningful while we're living through it. What we see instead is everyone else appearing to have already arrived. During periods when we feel lost, comparison often becomes louder. Uncertainty naturally looks for certainty. We begin scanning other people's lives for clues. Who seems fulfilled? Who seems confident? Who appears to know what they're doing? Sometimes the people who appear most certain are simply the people who stopped questioning. Questions can be uncomfortable, but they can also be signs that we're still paying attention. Human beings make sense of life through stories. We carry narratives about who we are. Sometimes feeling lost happens when the story we've been living no longer makes sense. Viktor Frankl spent much of his life reflecting on meaning. People can experience an existential vacuum, a quiet sense of emptiness. There's a particular kind of tiredness that comes from noticing things no longer matter in the same way. From the outside, very little changes, but internally, something feels absent. The work we do, the relationships we maintain, the values we're living by. Maybe the discomfort isn't telling us that we're failing. Maybe it's asking us to re-examine something. These questions rarely produce immediate answers. They're not really asking to be solved. Many spiritual traditions describe confusion not as failure, but as part of inner development. The dark night of the soul, a period in which old certainties begin to disappear. Beliefs that once felt secure no longer provide the same comfort. The old maps stop working, and no new map has appeared yet. Perhaps some seasons ask, only for patience. Perhaps that experience can open the possibility of meeting ourselves more honestly. Every change quietly asks us a new question. Who are you now? Perhaps feeling lost isn't always a sign that you've wandered away. Sometimes it means you're standing at the edge of a new path. The difficult part is that we rarely recognize that while we're living through it. Only later, looking back. Perhaps you're not as alone as you imagine. Perhaps you're simply experiencing something deeply human, and maybe that's worth reflecting on. If you enjoy thinking this way, you're welcome to stay. This is DS Perspective,